Welcome back to my channel. I am a YouTubing newbie, so thanks for bearing with me. My name is Kate and I am passionate about intentional living, and I want to share what I've learned about intentional living with basically the world. So I run a company called Chasing Wonderment where I teach women who feel stuck how to get unstuck. Today I'm going to be talking about the 3 reasons that you should be doing a year-end review for 2020. Okay, so has 2020 left a really bad taste in your mouth? I feel like the way that this year has gone has been, it's like a train wreck and a dumpster fire and multiple other things all like lumped into one thing, and it's been really bad. It's been rough for a lot of people. So I think when I've come through seasons that are really hard, my first instinct is to just be like, okay, it's in the past, it's done, let it go. Like, I don't want to have to think about it or do anything with it. I just want to ignore it. Now, I am an Enneagram 7, so that may be a very Enneagram 7 thing, but you should be doing a year-end review. And I'm going to tell you why in a minute. But if you are thinking, you must be crazy, if you think that I am going to look back on the year and take time to dwell on the dumpster fire that was 2020, please bear with me. I personally think that doing a review is almost more important as goal setting. So here's the thing. You should be doing a year-end review. Like, hands down, you absolutely should be doing a year-end review. And if you think, Kate, you must be crazy because there is no way that I'm going to look back on the dumpster fire that is 2020 and find anything good, hang on a second. There are 3 reasons that you should do a year-end review. Now, if anybody is like, we're all ready to get rid of this year, right? Like, I am too. I'm right there with you. I'm ready for 2021. But we don't know what 2021 is going to hold, because who knows what's going to happen in the new year. I kind of feel like, I don't know, like I'm dating myself, but Y2K, guys, I was a Y2K young teen. And my family was into the whole prepping thing for Y2K because it was like nobody knew it was going to happen and everybody said it was going to be terrible. So I kind of feel like that's how we are with 2021. Like, 2020 has been such a dumpster fire, and now we're getting ready to hit a new year. And how do you prepare for that? Like, do you prepare for the worst? Do you hope for the best? Who really knows what to do? This is why a year-end review is so incredibly helpful. Okay, do not, please hear me, whether you do this in a way that I show you through like the journals that I'll mention at the end of the video, or whether you do this your own way, you look it up, you just spend some time in your journal. I don't care how you do it. Please, 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 please do a year-end review. This can be a life-changing practice. It can be a life-changing habit. And if you are not watching this video at the end of 2020, if you're in the middle of 2021 and you just happened upon it and you're curious, you can still do a review. I have done reviews after really hard seasons of my life. I've done them like after the summer. Sometimes I've done them several times in one year because it really helps, and I'm going to explain why. I'm going to tell you why it's so important. But please, if you take anything away from this video, do a year-end review. I don't care how you do it. You don't have to do it my way, but do a year-end review. Okay, so here we go. 3 reasons why you should do a year-end review. Number one is because of the way your brain works. Your brain only remembers the bad stuff. And there's a reason for that. It is trying to keep you safe. There is a part of your brain called your amygdala, and what your amygdala does is it basically sends out like freak out warnings when you're stressed out. And so what it does is it remembers the bad things because it doesn't want you to repeat them. It doesn't want you to be chased by a bear again. It doesn't want you to experience 2020 again. All the things that have gone wrong, your brain remembers that more than it remembers anything good that happened, because it doesn't want you to repeat the same mistakes over and over and over again. That can be a great thing. It's a good thing. You don't want to be chased by a bear. You don't want to make that same stupid mistake or date that same boyfriend you dated 10 years ago and it was a disaster. I don't know. You do not want to make the same mistakes over and over and over again. So that is why your brain remembers the bad stuff. However, your brain only remembers the bad stuff. So if your brain is constantly bringing up everything that went wrong, then you will have a really hard time remembering everything that went right, everything that you learned, everything that you've experienced, that you've survived, the things that you can be proud of, the things that you can thank God for. All of those things are going to be harder for you to remember because of the way your brain is wired. Again, it's not a bad thing. It's trying to keep you safe. Number one is because your brain only remembers the bad stuff. Number two, this leads me directly to number two. You need to remind your brain of the good stuff. Like, it sounds easy, except after you've been through 2020, when you look back and you think, oh my gosh, what could have possibly been good? This is why the year-end review is so important, because your brain only remembers what happened, which was bad, and a lot of bad stuff happened in this past year. So it's going to be even harder for you to remember and celebrate and review and look back on what good things came out of this year. So you have to actively teach your brain what you want it to remember. You have to actively remind your brain, hey, remember when this thing happened and we survived? Remember when this thing happened and yeah, it was hard, but I learned so much. You have to remind your brain of that. And if you're not reminding your brain of that, remember, point number one, it only remembers the bad stuff. You're going to walk away from 2020 with a terrible taste in your mouth, and it's never going to leave. We want it to leave. Like, we want it to leave. So number two is that you have to remind your brain of the things that you're proud of, the things you survived, the things that were great, the things that were hard but you made it through, the things that were good, because some good things happened in 2020. I promise you something good happened. I just lost my train of thought. Okay, number three, you have to let go of the crappy stuff. Okay, remember point number one that said that your brain will always remember the bad stuff because that's how it's wired, because it's trying to keep you safe. Well, if you don't remind it of the good stuff and you don't let go of the crappy stuff, you're going to remember it for like ever. And this process of letting go can be incredibly helpful, and it can be really fun. You can do it in any number of ways. One of my favorite ways, and the way I first tried it, was I wrote down everything awful that happened in the first year that I did this. And I just wrote everything down. You know, I struggled with depression. This was bad. This was horrible. Blah, blah, all the things. Everything that I could possibly think of that I hated, that was awful. Decisions I made that I regretted. Maybe words that I spoke that I shouldn't have spoke. All of those things. I put them on a piece of paper. And then I put that piece of paper in my kitchen sink and I lit it on fire. Like, I lit the paper on fire. I don't know, I might have done it outside or in our wood stove or something, but I lit the paper on fire. And when I did that, I was like, okay, I'm gonna let this stuff go, and it is in the past, and that is where it's going to stay, because now it's time to move forward. When you do something like that, when you create a process that lets go, you get all of those things out of your head, everything bad that happened, get it out of your head and onto paper. That's another thing that our brains are not wired to do. They are not meant to be storage spaces. They are like computer processors. They process information, they tell us what to do with it or how to do it, and then we're supposed to let it go. But if we constantly store all of this information, all of this bad stuff in our minds, it will stay there and it will wreck you. Like, it will wreck you. I promise you, because I've been there and I've done it. When you choose to say, okay, I'm letting this go. Okay, I forgive this person. Okay, this year was tough, but I survived and I'm on the other side and I am so much stronger than I ever thought possible. those things, when you learn how to review, to remind your brain of the good and to let go of the bad, everything can change for your future. Okay, so how do you do a year-end review? First of all, you do not need any outside help in order to do a year-end review. You can Google and find a ton of resources on how to do this process all by yourself. You don't need to buy anything, but I would recommend having a journal because I'm obsessed with journals. But you can also use the process that I have worked on for the past 8 or 10 years. And this is something that I have learned, I have honed, I've worked on, I've added things that I've learned from other people. And I have created a small journal. It's called the Looking Back Journal, and it is all the journaling prompts that I use to review my end of year. And again, it doesn't have to be done at the end of the year. You can do this in the middle of the year. You can do this after you finish homeschooling your kids after 2020. Anything that you feel like you need to review and figure out if there was some good there, and then learn how to celebrate it, and then learn how to let it go. This can help a ton. It has all the journaling prompts. It will help you review, to celebrate, and let go of the past year. So if this is something you're interested in, I will make sure that I link it in the show notes below. Or you can join me inside the Wonderment community. Now, the Wonderment community is my online community for women who feel stuck and want to get unstuck and live more intentionally. And we do that through mindset work, through journaling prompts, and through goal setting. And this is a huge part of goal setting. So in January, we're going to start with a review. We're going to be looking back and writing a Dear John letter to 2020 because it is time that we break up with him because he was not good to us. But we are going to do that as a community. I guide everyone inside my community through this process. So week 1, we start with review. Week 2, we do a dreaming big, which helps you get a clearer picture of the future that you would like to have. And then weeks 3 and 4, we work on goal setting, and I help you take that big picture vision and get it smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller until you have daily actionable steps that you can do every single day to help you live a more intentional life. Thank you for listening to me talk about the things I'm excited about. If you like listening to this video, I am slowly going to be producing more. I'm not going to give myself a deadline or tell you I'm doing them on these days because I don't know yet. I'm going to try recording and uploading some videos to YouTube for the next few months and see if it works for me and my intentional life. So if you are interested in seeing more videos, I do have more planned, so hit that subscribe button. And again, all the links to things that I mentioned in here, the journal, the Wonderment community, everything will be in the show notes below. I would love to chat with you if you have any questions about doing a year-end review. If you want to do it and you don't want to buy anything, please leave a comment and I will offer some advice if you have any questions. So thanks for being here, and I hope that you'll keep chasing your wonderment, friend.